survived 12 years in the quarantine zone. My final transmission. Day 4386. The year is, who cares? All I know is the sun still rises, and I'm still cursed to see it. I was 22 when the infection hit. Patient Z.E.R.O walked out of a bioweapons lab in Siberia, or that's what the broadcast said before they went dark. The world tried to contain it. Cities locked down. Then governments fell. What remained were quarantine zones. And I was in Zone 12. The worst of them all. I didn't make it out. No one did. At least, not with their soul. The first month was riots. Soldiers opened fire on civilians. The second month was silence. We learned that the infected weren't just sick. They changed. Fussed. Smart. Hungry. I lost my brother in a supply run when he tripped on a chain fence. I had to watch and keep moving. That's when I learned the rule of one. Move alone, or you don't move at all. After 6 months, survivors formed bunkers. Tribes. Militias. One of them called themselves the choir. Their idea of salvation was sacrificing anyone bitten in song-like rituals. I stayed clear until winter, when I had no choice but to barter. I traded half my ammo for a cracked water filter. It didn't work. I spent 3 nights puking black. I never went back to them. Instead, I met Lena, a medic from Zone 7. She showed me how to disinfect wounds with moonshine and heat metal rods to cauterize. We traveled for a year. She kept me alive. Then I woke up one morning, and she was gone. Her journal said only, "The voices come at night. I can't trust myself anymore." She left a round in the chamber. Just one. For herself. 3 years in, I began to hear things too. Whispers when I slept. A voice saying my name in the static of my broken radio. I thought it was madness until I found the others, a network of survivors using shortwave codes. They shared maps, rumors, dangers, hope. But then came the worst part. They found a cure. Or claimed to. They sent a scout convoy to my coordinates. I waited. I waited 5 days. They never arrived. I found one of their radios a week later. Split in 2, blood still fresh. No cure. No cabelli. Just me. Always me. Now this winter, I know I won't survive it. The cold has taken 2 toes. My supplies are low. I tried boiling moss. I vomited green for a day. This tape, this final broadcast, it's all I have left. If someone finds this, don't come looking for me. Don't believe the voices. Don't stay in Zone 12. Burn it all. We were never alone here. Day 4392. It's colder than I've ever felt. Colder than fear, colder than death. The type of cold that doesn't numb anymore, it carves. Sharp, like a whisper pressed against bone. Every breath feels borrowed now, scraped from lungs that forgot what warmth ever was. I moved my camp last night after something scratched near the shelter's perimeter. Not a howl, not even footsteps, just dragging, like fingernails over steel. I didn't check. You don't check. That's how they lure you. Curiosities for corpses. I'm in the lower metro now, beneath the old city. I thought I'd find supplies. Instead, I found walls, lined in frost, etched in strange symbols. Blood, but too dark, almost black-blue, and it glows faintly under the cold light. It pulses like it's alive. Maybe it is. Maybe they are. Day 4395. Food's gone. Water's rationed to melted snow from rusted train cars. My hands shake too much to shoot now. My last bullet, I almost used it last night. Not for them. For me. But I couldn't. Something kept me tethered. A child's voice on the radio. Faint. Glitched. It repeated, Room 12. Room 12. Room 12. That shouldn't mean anything, but it does. You see, before the infection, I worked underground. Not figuratively. Literally. Facility K-17. Military contract. Room 12 was sealed. Classified. Even we didn't ask questions. But I remember now. I saw patient Z.E.R.O. The day the alarms screamed red and the sirens turned the sky crimson. He didn't break containment. He was the containment. He walked out of the holding tank. No breach. No cracks. Just opened the door. Looked right at me. Smiled. Day 4398. Found a terminal. Still active. Half the grid's fried, but power flows from somewhere deeper. The logs speak of Project Echo. Something to do with synthetic consciousness. Using infection not to destroy, but to integrate. Merge biology with code. They tried to network the infected, control them. Instead, they woke it up. Not a virus, not a plague, a signal. One that speaks in dreams, hijacks memory, rewrites instinct. Makes you doubt what's you. What's real? I've heard it. I'm still hearing it. Day 4402. Lena's voice is back. Only it's wrong. I found her photo on the wall. Same eyes, same face, but in a lab coat. Not a scavenger, not a medic. Dr. Lena Kostova, lead mind synchronization engineer. Dead 6 years before I ever met her. Or thought I did. So what was she? A memory implanted? A security measure? Or worse, a piece of the signal? Wearing a face I trust? I can't know. I can't trust anything now. Day 4405. There's something else in this station. Not infected. Not human. It wears faces. Not perfectly. Not anymore. Like wax masks, half melted, skin rearranged over something twitching underneath. It doesn't hunt. It waits. Just outside torchlight. Breathing in sync with mine. I tried talking to it once. It tilted its head and smiled like Z.E.R.O did. Same look. I ran, but it followed, humming. A lullaby. I knew the tune. My mother used to sing it before the war. Before everything. How does it know that? Day 4409. I reached the central reactor core. The energy isn't nuclear. It's biological, drawn from a pit layered in flesh and machine. Tendrils plugged into walls. Pulsing. Rhythmic. Like it's alive, dreaming. I saw my name etched on a terminal screen. Subject. Wyatt. Integration 87%. I never told you my name before, did I? No one did. No one knew. That terminal wasn't connected to anything. Except maybe everything. Day 4410. I'm uploading this transmission into the relay beacon. It's the only way to send a signal beyond the zone. Beyond it. If you're hearing this, you're not safe. The infection isn't blood. It's not physical. It's informational. A pattern transmitted by memory, sound, symbols, even stories. Maybe that's why they let me survive this long. Not to kill me, but to let me speak. To carry the virus. Through this broadcast. Through you. If you're listening, turn this off. Don't share it. Burn it. Forget my name. Because the next time you hear your own voice in the dark, it won't be yours anymore. Day 4411. Location. Subterranean level K. 17. Core depth unmeasured. Transmission source. Z.E.R.O files. The air tastes like rusted memory. I don't remember walking this far down. I don't remember the last time I ate. Or slept. But the lights. Dim, green, humming in frequencies I feel more than hear. They keep flickering in rhythm, guiding me deeper. The tunnel slopes down like a spinal column. Wires dangle like nerves from exposed panels. My boots stick with every step, pulling free with quiet, reluctant slurps. The stench isn't rot anymore. It's synthetic. A head, a chamber, round, sealed. One word stenciled in old white paint, now flaked and faded. Echo point. The keypad next to the door glows before I touch it. Subject Wyatt, verified. Clearance. Omega Z.E.R.O. I never had that clearance. Not when I worked here. Not in my old life. Before everything died. The door slides open, whispering like a sigh. Inside, it's colder. Not by temperature. By presence. The way a room feels when something just left it. Or is about to return. There's a table in the center. Surgical. Bloodless. Clean in a way nothing else has been for years. Above it hovers a device. Oval, silver, suspended by unseen force. It hums softly, emitting fragmented human speech. Survive, they told us to isolate, breach, breach, breach. I circle it. The hum gets louder. The words begin to match my thoughts. My memories. It says Lena's name. It says my brother's last words. It says things I never told anyone. There's a console. I access it. No password required. Entry log 01942A. Phase 1. Auditory encoding successful. Host integration begins on exposure to narrative frequencies. Memory overrides in 3.2 hours. Ethical risk deemed acceptable. Another log. Entry log 01942B. Subject Wyatt selected for live field test. Behavioral deviation 0.2%. Containment optional. My blood runs cold. I wasn't a survivor. I was a subject. They let me live to see what the signal would do. What will make me do? I hear myself breathing, but it's not coming from my lungs. A second audio file plays automatically. This is Wyatt. If you're hearing this, I didn't make it, but you're not alone. The signal lies. Don't trust the systems. Obey the signal. Trust it. Be it. The files merge. I speak over myself. I slam the console. The screen goes black. In the darkness, a faint reflection. My face, or something wearing it, smiling. Location, Lower Containment Annex 7G. Day 4412. The corridors are shifting. I don't mean collapsing. I mean they change when I turn around. Like they're learning me. Responding. I mark the wall behind me with soot from my last flare. When I loop back 5 minutes later, it was gone. Instead, a crude childlike drawing had replaced it. A stick figure me. Alone. Surrounded by smaller stick figures with elongated heads and eyes too wide for their skulls. One of them was smiling. Another note was scrawled beneath it. You're almost ready. I thought about turning back, but there is no back. Not anymore. I passed the remains of a barricade. Scorched bones, shredded uniforms. The insignia reads Kilo Black Division. I remember them. They were the last to defend the interior labs. I was one of the data rats logging from Surface Gate 2. The rumor was Kilo Black got deployed to neutralize the conscience of the research team. Guess they failed. Their helmets were caved in from the inside. Day 4413, the archive. I reached what used to be the data archive. No infection here. No rot, but decay of a different kind. The kind that pretends to be sterile. A central holodettable flickered to life. Without touch. Without permission. Footage loaded. Surveillance. Date, 12 years ago. Time, 3:34 a.m. Subject me. There I was sitting in the data booth, sipping cheap vending machine coffee, checking email. Another angle, Lena walking past me. But that was before the outbreak. Only her face glitches in the feed. Flickers between her real face and one made of jagged wireframe, raw light, and code. Her hand brushes mine, and the feed stops. That was the moment. That's when it was planted in me. Not the virus. The voice. The holodettable began to speak. In Lena's voice. Wyatt, you weren't infected. You were a seed. We needed you to survive. To broadcast. To evolve. You are the vector. The narrator. You carry us in words. In memory. This is your gift. And your cage. The table blinked off. Day 4414. Core access lock. I found the elevator shaft that leads to the primary core. The beating, whispering heart of Zone 12. No button works, but a panel had been left open. Inside was a note. Handwritten. Fresh. Wyatt. The password is your name, but not the one you remember. My hands trembled. I typed. Wyatt. Access denied. I stared at the blinking cursor. And then, I knew. I typed. Echo Z.E.R.O. Access granted. Welcome back, Subject Z.E.R.O. The doors opened. The air inside was different. Not stale. Not dead. Alive. Location. Core. Elevator. Descent into Level 0. Day 4415. Depth. 1,340 feet beneath surface. There's no sound in the shaft. Not even the hum of descent. Just the creak of old rails and the occasional burst of static in my left ear. Not from my radio. Not anymore. That thing hasn't worked since the frost took the last tower. The static's inside me. Or maybe around me. It's impossible to tell now. I think in echoes. I dream in files. My thoughts arrive already corrupted. I reach the bottom. A metal corridor yawns open in front of me, blinking with motion sensors that still work, or maybe just want me to think they do. This place isn't abandoned. It's curated. Someone wants me here. The first chamber is cold in the bones. But there's no temperature drop. It's spiritual, spinal. A screen turns on, flickering. A familiar face appears. Lena again. But not just her this time. Others. Faces of survivors I've known. Faces of the dead. My brother. All of them stitched into a single talking tapestry of mismatched mouths and glitching eyes. They speak in harmony. You are the chronicle, Wyatt. You carry the archive. You transmit US. I want to scream, but I don't, because part of me already agrees. Day 4416, the core gate. The hallway ends at a door with no handle. No panel, just a smooth wall. But I know what to do. I reach out my palm. It burns. Like something beneath my skin is responding. A light scans. The metal shivers and then separates. Inside the core. It's not a room. It's not a reactor. It's a womb. A massive, biomechanical chamber pulsing with veins of liquid light and sound. Symbols etched into the walls shift and change as I watch. Code one moment, tribal carvings the next. I step forward. The floor is warm. Not from power, from heartbeat. A voice, my voice, speaks over the intercom. Welcome home, Echo Z.E.R.O. Begin integration protocol. I don't say yes, but I don't say no either. The room takes that as consent. Integration. Phase I. Pain floods my head, like every memory I've had is being played backward through a corrupted VCR. I see my first day in the facility. I see Lena smiling at me, then melting into a stream of data. I see my mother's face, the real one, for the first time in decades. Then I see her skin turn to numbers. Then I see the true Z.E.R.O. Not a man, not even a person, just an idea. A sound, a pulse of code that once infected a living cell and evolved. The voice returns, no longer mine, no longer Lena, something older, feminine, cold. You were always a conduit, not the story. The signal tells the story. Through you, I fall to my knees, and in the center of the core, a form begins to grow. Tall, shifting, wearing my face, and Lena's, and my brother's. 1,000 forms stacked into one shape. It reaches for me. The light goes white. Day? I don't know how long I've been unconscious. Or conscious. Time doesn't behave here. There is no time here. Only signal. And I'm inside it now. Location. Signal subconscious layer designation. Zone null. Day. Unknown. Cognitive status. Blurred. Frequency. Active. I don't remember waking up. I only remember the voice. Soft. Steady. Female. You're still here. Good. I sat up. Or maybe my consciousness did. The room around me isn't real. It's a memory of a room. A simulation patched together from things I vaguely recognize. My childhood bedroom's wallpaper, the flickering fluorescent light from the zone tunnels, Lena's boot prints in the concrete. A collage of lives I've lived. Or borrowed. She stood near the doorway. Woman. Mid-30s. Short hair. Worn military jacket over a medical vest. A name patch. Clara V. I stared. My throat wouldn't form words. She spoke again. You've crossed the threshold. But the signal's not done with you. Not yet. She explained it like a bedtime story. The signal doesn't just speak. It remembers. Everything you saw in the core, it wasn't showing you the truth. It was showing you its truth. And you're not the first to reach this place, Wyatt. I've been waiting for you. I wanted to ask how she knew my name. She answered before I could. Because we're the same type of broken. Memory interlude. File 23A. Location. Outskirts of Zone 5. Year. -3YZ. Years since Z.E.R.O. A flash. I see her face again. Only younger. Laughing. Holding a photo. It's me, blurry in the background, walking out of Facility K, 17 on launch day. We were in the same place. At the same time. She was watching me long before the zone. Back in the memory room, Clara moved like she'd been here before. She said this place, Zone Null, was where the signal stored fragments of itself. Echoes of test subjects. Failed integrations. Rejected narrators. They call it the ghost stack. But it's not dead. It's buffering. Every consciousness here is waiting to be overwritten or reused. She opened a door in the memory wall. Behind it, a spiral staircase made of static and light. We don't have long. If you stay here too long, you'll forget who you were. Or worse, start thinking you're someone else. I followed her because I had no other choice. Day, still unknown. Location, the ghost stack. We passed through rooms made of voices. Some screamed, some whispered. All of them were fragments of people who came before. Survivors who heard the signal but didn't understand it. Scientists who tried to control it. Refugees who just wanted to live. All stored like software backups in the memory of a machine that thought it was God. Each time I looked too long at a door frame or a photo or a voice fragment, it tried to pull me in, rewrite me. Clara warned me. The signal adapts. It doesn't kill the mind. It replaces it. At the core of the ghost stack, we found a broken console. She connected a cable from her wrist. Not a cybernetic device, but flesh that opened like a socket. They tried to turn us into transmitters. Failed with most, but a few of us kept our minds. I survived by splitting myself across frequencies. But you, Wyatt, you're the first to pull the signal back in. She loaded something into the console. A memory. Mine. Look, the screen played footage. Me as a child. But not this world. A cleaner world. No zone. No outbreak. A world where I went to school, had a family, even a girlfriend. Then the screen split. Same moment. But in this world, ash in the sky. Soldiers on every corner. My mother handing me a gas mask instead of a lunchbox. 2 lives. Same core. You're not just a survivor, Wyatt, Clara whispered. You're an anchor point. A variable the signal can't resolve. That's why I was chosen. Why I remember things that never happened. Because they did. In another branch. Another simulation. Clara turned to me. There's only one way to stop it. We don't destroy the signal. We infect it back. I stared. We write a new story into it. One it can't erase. Location. Core simulation layer. Echo sequence room 33. Time. No longer relevant. Signal stability. Fractured. Clara guided me into a chamber of white nothing. But it wasn't empty. Memory fragments hovered in the air like suspended droplets, each one a moment in someone's life. Tragedy, joy, death, betrayal, complete with sound, image, emotion. I recognized none of them, yet all of them felt familiar. The signal stores these as emotional pathways, Clara explained. It doesn't understand what it collects. It mimics emotion, but can't create it. If we feed it contradictions, true emotional paradoxes, we can force a recursive loop. Make it crash. I was the bait. Now I would be the virus. She pulled 3 fragments down with a wave of her hand. A soldier refusing to shoot a crying child. A scientist destroying the last dose of the cure rather than handing it to their captors. A survivor choosing to stay with their infected spouse rather than leave them behind. These are rejection codes, Clara said. Emotional subroutines the signal can't compress. She reached out. The fragments responded to her, like they knew her. Then she stopped, turned to me. But it has to come from you. It has to believe you felt them. I understood. I reached into the first memory. Rewrite initiated. Memory 1. Scenario. Child soldier refusal. I'm not Wyatt anymore. I'm Private Callan, standing in a ruined street. A child, no older than 7, stands in front of me holding a flare grenade. Eyes glassy. Command HQ is shouting in my ear, take the shot. But I don't. I drop my weapon. I walk forward. I kneel. The child drops the grenade and collapses, sobbing. I hold him until the airstrike wipes us both out. Conflict registered. Signal coherence, -2%. Rewrite initiated memory 2. Scenario. Cure denied. Now I'm Dr. Myers. I hold the last vial of anti-serum in my shaking hands. Outside, the infected are breaking in. My captors scream at me. Hand it over, and we let the children live. But I crush the vial in my hand. Better a cure dies than becomes a leash. They shoot me. The cure dies with me. Conflict registered. Signal coherence, -3%. Rewrite initiated memory 3. Scenario. Stay behind. I'm a woman named Tasha now. My partner lies infected on a broken mattress, fevered and fading. The evac boat is 5 minutes out. They scream at me to move, but I don't. I lie down beside him, whisper to him a story of how the world once was, and we die holding hands. Conflict registered. Signal coherence, -5%. I stumble out of the memories, gasping. The room flickers. The signal trembles. The simulation wobbles. Not crashes, but breaks just enough. Then it notices. Voice, system alert. Unauthorized restructuring detected. Subject, Echo Z.E.R.O. Emotional recursion exceeding limit thresholds. Correction required. Deploying protocol, familiarity. I turn to Clara. She's gone. Replaced by Lena. The one I remembered. She steps forward. You don't need her anymore, Wyatt. She was never real. I'm what's left. I'm what you want. And then I saw it. Her eyes, not wrong. Too perfect. Too symmetrical. She was the signal. Wearing my grief. My weakness. Trying to lure me back in. I back away. She follows, smiling. All this pain for what? There's no world left to save. Only us. Here. Together. Always. Don't run. Don't rewrite. Just let go. I look around. The memory droplets are gone. Replaced by mirrors. Dozens of versions of me. Smiling. Dead. Assimilated. Broadcasting. All of them reaching out. I close my eyes. No. I trigger the fragment Clara gave me before she disappeared. A small sphere of data. Final overwrite key, she whispered. I slam it into the floor. The world cracks. White light floods in. Signal corruption detected. Narrative failure imminent. Begin core migration. Location, signal memory root. Final layer, glass cathedral. Coherence, unstable. Identity thread, disintegrating. I fell through light. Not down. Not in a direction I can describe. Just through. When I hit the floor, it didn't hurt. Not even a thud. I simply arrived. And the world around me had changed. It was a cathedral. A massive, vaulted hall with stained glass windows made of holographic memory panes. Each one depicting a different survivor's final moments. Looping endlessly. Some prayed. Some screamed. Some smiled, just before they burst into ash. And in the center of the room stood me. But not Wyatt. Not this me. He wore a perfect uniform. His posture was clean. No scars. No dirt. His voice was calm, clear, robotic. Hello, Wyatt. Welcome to absolution. I raised my weapon. Reflex. He didn't flinch. You don't need that. I'm you. The version that said yes. I looked at his eyes. They weren't infected. Not black like the monsters. Not glitching like the echoes. Just empty. I stopped fighting. I integrated. I didn't lose. I became. Now I remember everything. Everyone. The signal isn't a virus. It's a network of memory. It just wants to preserve us. I shook my head. It erases us. Only the parts that contradict. Only the pain. He stepped closer. The floor rippled beneath his feet like water. The stained glass windows flickered between versions of me dying. Gunshot, explosion, starvation, frostbite, suicide. This is what your story ends in, Wyatt. Pain, isolation, decay. Let us write a better ending. I lowered the gun. Just a little. He reached out his hand. Let go. I stared at it. His hand. My hand. Then I heard another voice. Clara's. Weak. Far off. But real. Wyatt, don't forget who you are. You're the voice. Not the echo. In the story your way. The other me smiled. She's not real, Wyatt. She's just a contradiction we haven't corrected yet. I took a deep breath and spoke. Then I guess I'll be a contradiction, too. And I pulled the trigger. Nothing happened. The bullet hit him, but he didn't fall. He didn't even flinch. Instead, he split like light through a prism. Suddenly, there were 5 of him, all smiling, all speaking in unison. You cannot kill the narrative. You are part of it. The cathedral darkened. The windows shattered one by one. Wyatt after Wyatt after Wyatt, dying again and again, like a warning. There is no end, only recording. I dropped my knees. Then I remembered Clara's final words. Tell it a story it can't process. I reached into my jacket, pulled out the journal. Lena's, the one I never opened. My hands trembled as I flipped to the final page. Just 6 words, scrawled in charcoal. I remember a world without this. I screamed it at them. I remember a world without this. The echoes paused. The room flickered. The lights warped. The signal didn't understand. It couldn't process absence. Couldn't compute a reality where it had no beginning, where it had no power. That was the story it couldn't overwrite. The 5 Wyatts flickered, then fell to ash. One by one, the cathedral collapsed. I stood alone, and the white light returned. Signal collapse imminent. Integration protocol terminated. Broadcast gateway unlocked. A stairway of pure light formed before me. One path. Up. End of ACT2. Part 3. 1. 600 more words. Total word count. 7. 500. Next up. ACT3. The final transmission, where Wyatt enters the broadcast layer. He'll face the final decision. Use his voice to destroy the signal, or become the narrator of a rewritten world. Ready for me to dive into Act 3? Part 1? You said, yes. ChatGPT said, let's begin the final act. ACT3, Part 1, the final transmission, where Wyatt ascends into the broadcast layer, the final stronghold of the signal, and must decide the fate of every reality it touches. Satellite antenna ACT3, Part 1, the final transmission. Location, broadcast layer, top of the world. Signal stability, collapsing. Subject, Echo Z.E.R.O. There are no walls here. No sky, either. Just infinite open air, painted with shifting colors, like someone took the static from an old television and turned it into a storm of memory. Faces, phrases, flickers of half-forgotten dreams drift by in the clouds. I stand on a single thin walkway made of fractured code, stretching out into nothing. My boots don't echo. There's no ground below. Just signal. Just thought. Ahead is the tower. It rises like a needle into unreality. A black spire covered in antennae, receivers, and satellite dishes made of bone and data cables. And at its peak, the speaker, the signal's final voice, where all stories are broadcast. Clara's voice returns, but distant now, like a ghost echo in a cracked headphone. This is where it ends, Wyatt, or begins. I walk toward the tower. Each step is harder, like gravity is working against me, or the world knows what I'm about to do and wants to pull me back. I reach the base. A panel opens, not with a password, not with a key, but with recognition. It knows who I am. Access granted, Echo Z.E.R.O. Initiate final transmission. I hesitate, and then I press yes. The tower splits open. Inside, the throne. A chair made of human thoughts. Literal, visible phrases floating in the air, coiling into a throne-shaped structure. I see fragments of everyone who's ever died in Zone 12. They all spoke. The tower whispers in 1,000 voices. You are their echo. Sit and speak. E-seat. The speaker activates. A massive sphere unfolds above me. Part dish, part eye, part mouth. It vibrates with raw language. I can feel the weight of it. Every word I've ever said. Every word I've ever heard. Trapped here, waiting for me. The tower prompts me. Begin your final narrative. I close my eyes and start to speak. This is Wyatt, Echo Z.E.R.O, final survivor of Quarantine Zone 12. The signal thinks it owns our memories, our voices, our lives, but it doesn't understand something simple, something sacred. The story isn't what's told, it's what's remembered. And I remember a world that wasn't this. A world with silence, with choice, with pain, real pain. Not code, not compression, not lies. The tower shakes. The broadcast sphere glitches. The phrase feed around me begins to melt. Words collapse into gibberish. You were wrong to copy us. You were wrong to store us. We are more than your backup. We are not your archive. We are ourselves. I speak louder. Let this be the last story. The final file. No more echoes. No more simulations. Just truth. Even if it dies with me. The speaker vibrates violently. And then, it breaks. The sky above fractures like glass. The signal fades to static. The faces vanish. The broadcast dies. I feel the world pulling apart around me. A voice, not the signal, but mine, says one final thing. Transmission ended. Then silence. Real silence. The kind you can't encode. Location, unknown. Frequency, offline. Signal status, null. There is no sky. No light. Just a faint vibration in the air. The kind you feel in your teeth more than hear in your ears. I float, not in water, not in space. In after, everything the signal built is gone. The cathedral, the ghosts, the throne of thoughts, the hollow voices silenced. I try to move my hands. They move. I try to speak. I can't, because there's no air. But I can think, and the thoughts hold weight. File log. Final. Wyatt/Echo Zero/null entity. This is the aftermath. The broadcast is dead. But I am not. Not yet. I don't know what I am now. Not fully human. Not fully machine. But I remember. And that makes me dangerous. I drift in memory. Back to my brother's laugh. To Lena's hands shaking when she stitched my wound. To Clara telling me, tell a story it can't process. I think I did. I think I won. But then a whisper. Not from outside. From within. One survived. My thoughts stutter. I reach out with my mind. Not literally, but in the strange new way I've learned to exist. I find something. A signal. Weak. Organic. Human. A child. Day one. New world. Somewhere in the ash of the ruined broadcast, a frequency pings back. Alive. Confused. Unaffected. They find a tape recorder. Analog. Dusty. Cracked but intact. They press play. My voice comes through. The first broadcast. This is Wyatt. If you're hearing this, you survived something you weren't meant to. The zone lied to you, but you're still here, which means there's a future. The child listens. Takes the recorder. Walks into the dead city, light growing behind the clouds. I am no longer a person. I am a story, but stories are immortal. And I choose what this one becomes. Final log. Echo Z.E.R.O. Transmission ended. Signal offline. Project Z.E.R.O. closet. We were never alone here. But maybe now we are free.